I'm Graybeard,
I'm Red.
I'm Spice Man.
and this is the first episode of Featured Crafter, and we've got Bill Wade from Nubber with us tonight. Hey, Bill.
Hey, sir. Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining us.
Appreciate you guys letting me come out.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Before we get started, just, with Leaving Great, we always do a pairing, and you said you wanted to bring the drink for the pairing, so what did you bring?
I brought you the Russell 10.
Awesome. So let's get a pour going and let's get this party started.
I'll let you do the honors.
We got the pairing for the glass. There you go, buddy.
So I'm going to go ahead and pour myself some, and then I'm going to grab you a glass real quick.
Appreciate it.
Pass around.
Yes,
Feel
sir.
free to check.
Chuck. No, those days are behind me, thankfully.
There you go.
Thank you, sir.
So we are here at the Underground, and thank you to Don and Chef and everybody at the Underground for allowing us to record this here. And this is what you get to see in the beautiful humidor and everything, just the entire atmosphere and the ambience around it. So, the Nubber.
Yes, sir.
Tell us how this started and where it kind of came about, and then let's talk about some of these beautiful products you have.
Sure. Actually, according to my wife, who I've known since I was about 15, she says I'm probably the latest old bloomer she knows. About 5 years ago, we were getting ready to have our anniversary, and we happened to drive by a cigar shop, and I had realized I'd never had a cigar, but I kind of always wanted to. And I asked her point blank, would you think any less of me if I wanted to? And she was like, you've got to be joking. So essentially, long and short was after I answered all of her questions about how cigars are not cigarettes, and all of her concerns were addressed, she said, no, of course not. Well, I also happen to be a wood turner and a woodworker, and after I started enjoying my cigars, I realized it's not like the best idea to have a live ember next to wood shavings or wood chips in a shop. So I wanted to find some way to keep the cigar stable without having to worry about it, etc. And started playing around with some ideas and ended up taking one or two of the early models up to my local cigar shop. And some of the guys up there are like, oh, I want one. Oh, I want one. No, you guys are joking. This is scrap wood and a piece of glue. I mean, this is not something you can want. Long story short, is after about 2 years, God opened up some doors that I would have never thought possible, and had two wonderful gentlemen step out and say, look, we want to be your business partners, and we want you to do something with us. 2 years later, we're walking into Tobacco Plus Expo earlier this year in May, and we had been nominated in the final nominees as Tobacco Accessory of the Year. We lost out to Boba the Butler, but I can't really complain. I've got two of them. So,
I mean, if you lost out to Boba the Butler, that's pretty high.
yeah, I am not complaining. No, not complaining. But the wonderful thing is it's something I've always tried to teach my kids with the business right now. Is that I've always tried to tell my kids, try to find something you can enjoy doing, so it's not a burden doing it. And that's exactly what this has turned into. We have found out over the last 2+ years that over 95% of our sales, the customer wants it customized to their personal preference. We've got less than 0.01% negative feedback on all of our sales today. We've had 2 units returned for minor manufacturing issues that literally took less than 10 seconds to fix.
So how many units do you think you put out?
Oh, in the last year, we purchased from our intermediate parts manufacturer over 3,000 units, and that's just in the last year. And the year before that, it was probably maybe about half that again, because we didn't have that partner in place, and I was literally doing all of this from a blank piece of wood and some scrap pieces of metal. So the business has really been taking leaps and bounds in growth, but again, that goes back towards the men God has placed in my life. That one of my business partners is a local businessman who's been building his business over the last 25 years. Not even related to the cigar industry, any part of the tobacco industry.
Does he smoke cigars?
Oh, yes, he does.
Good.
He's my partner, please. Where are you from? My other partner actually is a local brick and mortar shop owner here in Dallas Fort Worth. And he has a lot of in-depth knowledge about the tobacco industry. So I've got the benefits of both worlds with these two partners. One showing me how to groom myself into a businessman, which I've never considered myself. And the other one saying, here's how we keep your product relevant, refreshed, and new to this industry on a whole. And every day I learn something new from both of these guys. And from what they tell me, they learn stuff from me too. There are a number of stories that go into, but that's not what we're here for.
Right.
So.
No, perfect. So you've been smoking cigars, did you say for 5 years?
4.
4 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, so really in the cigar world, you're
Yeah.
still kind of a newbie.
Absolutely. And that's what that one partner who's a brick and mortar owner, he's like, I can't believe we're walking into Tobacco Plus Expo and you've only been smoking cigars for 3 years.
I've been smoking cigars for almost 30 years and I've never been to Tobacco Plus Expo.
I know. 25. Haven't been there yet.
How many years were you, Spice?
At least 10, 15.
10, 15?
One of the scariest, without getting too far off base, one of the scariest things for me doing this whole business thing from the get-go was the first year that we weren't actually in business, but these two guys were trying to beat into me, this is what God wanted to have happen. One of my partners, the brick and mortar owner, had to go out to IPCPR 2.5 years ago. And he and I sat down, and we'll talk about our Rhonda product here in a little bit. He and I had sat down about a week before the event. And he came over to my house and showed me something, and I took it from his hand, and 15 seconds later we had another product. It was literally that quick and easy.
Wow.
He just showed me this one item, and I'm like, let me see that. And he was like, how did you do that? I'm like, but we walked into IPCPR, and what was interesting was, before we walked into IPCPR, God again was working the way he does, and we ended up meeting Kurt Van Keppel, who started Zycar.
Oh, wow.
Very cool.
He actually reviewed the product before we filed for the patent. He had the Fuente family, Cynthia Fuente. She was there with him. She looked at the product and the Rhonda product. She was like, "Oh my gosh, don't slow down." And I was like, and keep in mind, this is how new I was. I had no idea who Cynthia Fuente was. Needless to say, I still haven't lived that down with amongst a few folks that I know.
Well,
I will never stop knowing who Cynthia Fuente is. Hi, Cynthia.
I gotta say that's that's pretty cool that two people that are very well known in the cigar industry, the cigar world, have like the product.
Yes.
So before we get into actually looking at these products, and I've got a couple of numbers myself, and I know Red does and Spice does. What are you smoking?
What I'm smoking today is the Man of War Virtue. It was actually one of the very first cigars I had, and it's continued to be one of my favorites today.
What are you smoking?
I am smoking the Excalibur, and it is by Joya de Monterrey.
And Spotsman over in the corner's got, it's the 2019 Nomad. It was a underground exclusive for the NFG event back in 2019.
And I am smoking an archetype, the Master, which I don't know why I'm showing it to the camera, because you're not actually going to be able to see it. Hey, you know?
We gotta try.
You can zoom in really close there. Archetype, I mean, this great cigar, archetype you can't find anymore.
Yeah, phenomenal cigar.
Okay, so let's talk about some of your products.
Sure. So our website, which is one of the first things we started out with, was essentially our immediate way of getting the product out outside of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. The goal of the website has always been for it to be more than just about one product, the Nubber. It's essentially going to be our gateway to establishing a catalog for accessories. Our goal is to always be able to provide handcrafted, high-quality accessories, something that you're not going to just buy and then consider a throwaway item. This is something that we always want our products to be something that you would be proud to hand off as a gift or as a hand down to another family member, like Grandpa's pipe or Grandpa's cigar box, that type of a thing. So when I first started developing the product, one of the first things that I did was, Nubbers have been around since not long after cigars. Everybody wanted to be able to hold their cigar down to the bottom of it so that you're not losing any of the valuable money that you paid for that cigar. Problem is, most of the traditional ones only had one pin. And for anybody that's used one of those, that can be a bit of a dice roll because it spins around on it like nobody's business. And I'm not sure, but I don't think I've ever had enough to drink that I wouldn't know the ash going in my mouth. So I try to avoid that. We use 2 pins on ours. Both pins are about 1/4 of the diameter of the traditional single pin model, and they're sharpened very sharp so they provide minimal damage to your wrapper. So there's less cracking, less mutilation of the wrapper around the mouth of the cigar. It has a cap that screws onto it. It also has a magnet built into the bottom of it. The nice thing about the magnet is if you don't want to have to hang on to the cap, you've got some way to hold it. If you're out on the golf course, you can put your Nubber on your golf cart and have both hands on the club and the cigar's not down in the fertilizer. If you're out at the backyard, you've got the Nubber on the grill, so you've got both hands on the grill. Either way, you've got some place you can securely hold your cigar and not have to worry about getting fertilizer, grass clippings, dirt, dust, whatever, unnecessarily into your mouth. The other nice thing about it too is with the cap on it and by our design, we specifically made them to look like a cigar so they would easily go into your travel door or your humidor or whatever. One of the interesting things we found out along the way was a lot of folks started sending us or asking us if we had certain cigar bands of their favorite cigar.
Right.
So we started applying those at request onto the product. We then went from applying cigar bands to applying custom decal and custom artwork. This one here is actually one I recently made for Edgar Hoyle Cigars with his OSOC. We've done them for.
Well, I would say we have ours, but we've
Yes.
already picked
Yes.
that.
This is with the new leaf and grain cigar band on it.
Yes. And I have to say, you know how you're saying you made it look like a real cigar? My daughters, they see it, and it's like on the table or whatever, and they're like, Mom, put your cigar in the ashtray because they think it's real. So I think that's kind of funny. But
That's funny.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you've made them with the Brahma logo on them.
We've done it for brick and mortars like Tobacco Cabana, my home shop over in Cedar Hill. We've done them for Don Wiggins and the Underground here in Fort Worth. We're also in Neptune Cigars online superstores out of Florida.
Wow.
We've also done any number of fraternities, any number of military groups. We've done them for birthdays, cigar groups. If I can print it, it can go on here. The only challenge we ever have with these is getting a graphic that's too intricate and getting it down to this size. The smaller it goes, sometimes you can lose that. So when we have that happen, we try to provide the customer with alternate artwork for them to work with.
When you did one for me, out of complete surprise.
Yeah.
With the Crafted Cravings, the other group that I run, logo on it. I think you grabbed that logo off of the website or the group and brought it down, and that's a pretty intricate logo.
Right.
And you can still see some, most of the detail, to some extent on it, it was easily recognizable.
Yeah.
And that's what's cool about it is that these are it's so easy the way what you come up with is very easy to personalize.
Yeah.
And it's very recognizable.
Over
When you see the Leafing Grain logo, the Crafted Cravings logo, the Underground Piranha, all these different things, when you look at it, you can see the quality that's in it, the care that goes into making sure you recognize the logo that you asked for.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we get a lot of positive feedback on is we don't like to start working on a product or even talking to a customer about what the cost on a product will be until we've given them some idea in the form of a rudimentary graphic of what their product should look like. The reason we do that is twofold. We never. I've worked in the software industry long enough. It's a miracle for anybody to be able to understand visually what somebody else is trying to communicate orally. So what I always try to do is I always try to take what it is they've described, give them something to visually review and say, yep, that's exactly what I want, or can we change the color of this, or can we move this way? That way I always know that I'm as close as I can possibly get at what they're visualizing in their mind versus what I may be assuming that I understand from what they've communicated. The other side of that is obviously it saves us from having wasted materials. And in this day and age with supply chain issues, that's a big issue nowadays. And I think I mentioned earlier, but like I said, one of the biggest learnings we've had with the entire product line has been the amount of customization that people want. I don't think I have but maybe 5 units a month where somebody, and that's if that happens, where they don't want to customize it.
That's incredible, and that really speaks a lot to the quality of work that you're doing, where you're able to produce as many units as what you have stated, and 95% of them are customized.
Yeah.
I mean, wow. Wow.
It took me a while to find a way to be able to do it where I was satisfied with the quality being consistent, but it also gave me the span of flexibility in what we could do with it. Because, again, I mean, anybody that's going to spend as much money as what a cigar enthusiast does for a cigar is going to want to make sure that they're getting the quality for their dollar. They're not stupid. No. They're smart. They're smart consumers.
Our cigars are investments.
Yeah, like you said earlier, meeting the company of Zycar, I mean, I've had, until this one's been worn down, it was black. I've had this for 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
I mean, when we spend money on lighters and cutters and everything else, I mean, it's not, we want the best.
And I mean, we almost have a running joke. We have a couple of customers that they send me photos probably about once a month. And I think it's almost like an internal lounge challenge they have amongst 3 or 4 of them. I have one guy in particular who sent me 2 photographs to date where he's got his cigar on his Nubber, and he has smoked his cigar so far back. This is not a joke. He has smoked his cigar so far back, you can literally see light through the pins and through the mouth of the cigar going out the other side.
Wow. Well, and that's one thing is like I will say that, you know, I used to use my nails to the very end of it because I had issues with the one pin. Because like you have the one pin, and sometimes I even use the draw tool, and I'm sitting here trying to do it, and then if I wear my hair down, get my nails, it's not a good thing.
Oh no.
And I have been able, and I meant to show you this. I took a cigar the other night, and Gray Bear can testify this. I took it down to this big, like it was just like on the lip, and it was because I had the stability of the 2-pin Nubber, and that's what I love about
You
it.
did that on our show last Wednesday night.
Well, and a lot of folks have also told me what I kind of learned after I started developing it. I just took it for granted because I was smoking with the thing all the time as I was making tweaks to it. I've had customers come in. I love the fact when the cigar gets down to the point where I'm within the last inch, I can literally exhale through the cigar and cool it down so I can still get more flavors back than just the oils that are coming off the cigar. That when they cool it down by doing that exhale through it, they're able to get more of the original flavor that they were looking for.
We've talked about purging on your cigars on just about every single episode that we've done on the Twisted Pair and how important that is.
Oh, yeah.
is to do.
And, and it seems like you need to do it the further you get down.
Absolutely.
Your cigar.
Because all of those oils are making their way into the mouth of the cigar on their way down to that last bit. But that purging, especially in that last 1.5 to 2 inches, as you're doing that purging, you're essentially refreshing that cigar. You're getting rid of all of the waste, the less pleasurable aspects of the cigar with the purge that then allows you to enjoy the cigar all the way to the end. So I've had nothing but fun doing this. It has just been a blessing that I would have never thought of or expected at this point in my life.
So I see, I mean, we've got a lot of different sizes. What's really
Oh,
cool
yeah.
is that, I mean, each of them look like a cigar, the way that you stylize the ash on here. Now, I've seen some other models that are sitting back behind here.
Right. So our original line was the Nubber line, and that line starts off with the Nub, which is about a Robusto size. It's about 4 inches tall. The next one we have is our classic Nubber, which is about our Toro size, 5 inches tall. And then we've got the Chief. Now the Chief is actually named after my father. My father and my family have been in the Navy for generations, and Torpedo, Chief, Navy, just made perfect sense. So I named this one the Chief. We have 2 other models that I don't have with me tonight, unfortunately. One of them is actually shaped like a baseball bat. It's on our website. It's called the King. And we have another one that we found out a couple of years back. A lot of the police, first responder organizations, they really like the idea of a Nubber. They wanted one that I could customize for them, and we made a model that we called the Constable. It looks like a nightstick. It's about Toro size, but it's got a little leather leash on it. It looks like a nightstick. They love it. But needless to say, as we were moving on in the development of the product, we did not want to exclude the Sisters of Lee. So we came up with our ladies line. Sorry about that, right here. But we named our ladies line after she who we call our den mother in my home shop over at Tobacco Cabana, Miss Rhonda Rast. And the ladies line is called the Rhonda. And these are literally looking like lipstick cases because that's what they are. And I apologize for my steady hands, these are too small. But as you can see, the magnets are on these as well. They pull them off a bit. They look like lipstick cases because, again, that's exactly what they are. Take the cap off, you twist the mechanism, and that little story I told you about earlier, about 15 seconds later, this is what happened. One of my partners came over and said, look, I saw these online, and I thought they looked about the right size, and I took the pin set that we make, and I put it in it, and away we went. Now we had a whole ladies line that we call the Rhonda.
So I was going to ask you if your wife, Rhonda, actually just used up the lipstick and it's just purposely.
No. No, I don't feel like messing with that kind of nonsense. So I actually prefer to work smart rather than hard. And I don't feel like paying those makeup prices either. So we buy the cases in bulk, and we make the product. The Rhonda line has actually gotten to the point where over the last 1.5 years that we've had it out, it's actually started that we now have so many different models that we can't just say the Rhonda. We have to find a way to break them down so we can narrow out what the customer really looks for. So we actually have 2 new lines in that product group. The first one is going to be our Regal line, which is the ones that are primarily black and silver colors. And then we're going to have the red line, which somebody has been pushing for a little bit. So
Just a little bit.
just
Now, I didn't break that news story.
I thought that's the news you were talking about.
No, I
Oh, wow.
No, this is reality. This is going forward. The primary colored ones in red are going to be called the red line. The Regal line is the black and silver. We have probably 4 or 5 more different models than what you see here, but most of these are available on our website. And if you see something on our website, or you don't see something on the website, don't hesitate to drop us a note. We often have materials available that we're not able to get up to the website. So we have other options available we can work with a customer on. Again, Just like the standard Nubber line, they have the 2-pin design. They have a magnet in the bottom for those that will actually receive the magnet, and they work just like the standard model. They've got a cap on them, so you don't have to worry about damaging either yourself or anybody else by accident for safety purposes, and they've got the same benefits. Like I said earlier on, though, aside from the Ronda line and the Nubber line, the goal for the product or for the website was to be an overarching accessories line. We've now expanded into the pipe world, and we have come up with a new pipe bowl model.
Well, this is what I'm excited about this because every Veterans Day, and I'm going to start smoking a little bit more because I do have a lot of pipe tobacco. So I'm excited to hear about this.
Well, the interesting thing with this is just like the Nubber, I take no credit. Essentially, it was God saying, hey, here's an idea, being as you're trying to figure out how to do something in your shop. Standard tobacco tin has indentation in the ring at the top on both sides of the can. Well, it's nice if that can fit relatively perfectly on top of it.
Wow.
The other side of this is that unlike most bowls where you go to look for a knocker, somebody goes on eBay, they go on Amazon, they end up spending $5, $10, $15, whatever they're charging for them. I just thought that was kind of ridiculous for a cork or something like that. So essentially, I went and just grabbed a cork off of a bottle of wine, and I designed the bowl so you could just twist one right on there and not have to worry about it. It's on there every single time.
That way you can put your own favorite cork on there.
That's exactly right. You find your favorite wine, your favorite cork, whatever. Then on top of it, I kind of feel like God was just throwing in a little bonus gift on the situation. After the design was done and after I turned the prototype, I found out to my surprise that the diameter of the bowl and the diameter of the cork act as a natural rest for the pipe itself. So you not only got a pipe knocker, you not only got a pipe bowl, you've got an ashtray. It's all in a vertical format where it's taking up a minimal amount of space and it's not spread all out over your desk or on your nightstand or whatever else. It's also really helpful that you can put all of your accessories right there with the pipe and you're good to go.
So let's tell our viewers, what are they looking at in price points?
Sure. So we have a very easy structure when it comes to the Nubbers and the Rondas. Every product that we sell starts off at a base price of $30. Now on the Rondas, as you can imagine, because we can't really customize those like we can the wood models, those we can't really customize, so we don't add any upcharge on that. However, if a customer does have their favorite cigar band, or they have a graphic, or they want to personalize it for grandpa's initials, we only charge them $5 for the customization.
Wow.
So
That's a steal. That's a great deal.
Wow. And that's including the proofing and providing the proof back to the customer. You only charge $5 for the.
it usually doesn't take more than 1 or 2 efforts. So that's not a heck of a lot of time right now. So
that's an incredible deal. That's an incredible deal. Wow.
When you consider that most places it's $15 to $20 just to customize something, and then they charge you to add on to it.
Oh yeah.
But I thought about that earlier on, but I had a hard time saying that I wanted to start with that price tag because it's not like I went out finding the artwork for the individual. They're already doing half the work by bringing me the idea with the artwork. I'm just trying to make it to what they had envisioned. That's all I wrote.
No, I think that's great. You're providing a lot of value back to your customer, and I come back to it on the personalization because you're making it theirs.
Exactly. Again, I mean, that was part of our initial mantra or motive on this was we wanted to make something that would be a heritage product, or something you would be happy to hand down from father to son or from grandfather to grandson. We wanted that type of product.
Well, and it distinguishes, like you said, the Nubbers are not new to the industry.
No.
There's a lot of Nubbers out there. And what's nice about it is that it really distinguishes you, sets you apart from everybody else that's out there. It's providing something that's very, very unique.
Right. And it should also be noted, though, I mean, ours is different enough in design that we have applied for a full utility patent on ours, primarily because there weren't any patents previously filed that we were able to locate for a 2-pin design, let alone a 2-pin design that had a magnet on it, to make sure that you had the stability for either a cigar stand or your golf cart or whatever to hold your cap, et cetera, et cetera.
I mean,
Right.
You caught me.
Right in the middle, yeah.
Yeah,
stability.
you caught me out. This is actually my Zycar cutter, and I love this design myself, but I found out the interesting way that it makes a perfect stand for it as well. So even if I'm not near an ashtray, I can put it down somewhere and do something with my hands and then come right back to it.
Well,
So-
I should say something great for the magnet. Put into it. In a lot of places, you get magnets, pick it up, and next thing you know, something's falling
Right,
off. You're able
right.
to take a Zycar cutter, which is pretty heavy in itself.
Yeah, the
So
magnet.
being able to stick that to the side of a golf cart, just seeing that weight, I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's not letting go.
Yeah, that's cool.
The magnet that we've got in our current format is I believe 2.25 pound pull, so it takes that much pull to get it off of the surface. But we also have a new line of products. We're essentially using the code name Nubber 2.0 that we're looking to release here into 2022, and those are going to have even more functionality than what you've seen here tonight. And you'll see us popping up in a few more strategic places. I will probably put it that way. I know you said it was okay to go ahead and tease that relationship out.
I was about to say, let's
Okay,
let
so
people know.
Leaf and Grain will be carrying on their website a product just for Leaf and Grain coming up in the next couple of months. In addition, Leaf and Grain will also be partnering with Nubber for a anniversary product with Operation Cigars for Warriors. Their 10th anniversary is coming up in February of 2022, and as you will see when you go to the website, or for those that have been to the website or have seen any of my work, you'll know that OCFW has been near and dear to my heart since day one, simply because I'm a veteran, again, multiple generations of veterans in my household, and I never had to ask myself where any of the funds were going with OCFW. If you do not know their history or their story, it is a story for the books. In a day and age where you hear scandals all around regarding charitable organizations, you don't get much better than OCFW at a government level. So I would strongly encourage anybody that if you're not familiar with their organization, find out. If you want to find out, contact me. I will be glad to tell you about it.
Contact Leaf and Grain.
Correct.
We're going to have Storm on the Twisted Pair. It's the
Correct.
point that we're just trying to coordinate schedules
Right.
with that
Right.
on that.
But
And most of your brick and mortars are going to have your cigar
They-
for Warriors
most of them
boxes.
have donation
Underground, we've got a
centers.
giant 50 cal ammo box sitting up in the front where
Right.
you can donate. I know Lake Forest Cigar has their cases where they donate.
tobacco, Nevada,
Yeah.
Back to
Yep.
Nevada has
Fire
theirs.
guns.
yes,
I think Storm was saying that at the charity event that Texas Cigar Roadshow, or
Yeah.
the Cigar Roadshow.
yeah, Texas Cigar Roadshow and Lone Star Cigar Association partner up and sponsor an annual Herf event. And for the number of years that I've been involved with Texas Cigar Roadshow and Lone Star Cigar Association, OCFW has always been one of the primary recipients of the funds that have been received.
So how much did you?
This year was a number of firsts for us as an organization. It was the first time we had actually charged for admission to the event. It was the first time we had more than one designated organization that the funds were going to. And the result of both of those was shockingly, for us at least, and pleasingly so. Last year we had a total of about 135 to 140 people show up at the event, and we raised around $2,600 for a donation to Operation Cigars for Warriors. Keep in mind, we're talking about dozens of raffles, I mean, thousands of dollars worth of MSRP on raffles, competition quality barbecue at the event, lots of good cigars, lots of good fellowship, lots of good fine spirits, just an all-around great time. This year, we followed that same road to success. We only modified it by adding on that we wanted to charge for admission because we were getting more folks wanting to get involved in the barbecue competition. And when we looked at it, we realized if you're walking in the door free and you're walking out of here with about $30 worth of good food and raffles, we could be raising more money.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And that's exactly what we did. We had 104 attendees, which is 30 or so down from last year, or the year before, and we raised over 100% more in funds. We not only gave Operation Cigars for Warriors, but the Commemorative Air Force, both $2,600 donations. And we're only looking at going up from there, from this point on.
And if I remember right, Sleeping Grain was there. Storm had mentioned that they had given out to date at that point in time 1.22 million
Correct.
cigars to Warriors.
Correct.
And the majority of them over the past few months have been women.
That's exactly right. Storm has the actual metrics on that, but the numbers were, when I heard them the first time, I was impressed by them. And that we have a number of female members of the armed services that are saying, look, we're in an area where we're not allowed to have alcohol. We're not allowed to have X. We're not allowed to have Y. We're not allowed to have Z. When you consider the number of ratio from men to women in those theaters of operation, and you've got females asking for cigars for a luxury item, that says a few things to some folks. And those types of statements don't get ignored, not by Operation Cigars for Warriors at least. I will also say that one of my proudest accomplishments in the last 12 months was the entire time that we've been doing this business, I did not know that Operation Cigars for Warriors had manufacturer partnerships. So anytime I was doing my thing, if you will, making products, selling, about once every quarter I would go back and look at my sales and I would cut a check and I would go drop it off, either in the form of cigars or check or cash, whatever, to a donation center. I was doing that informally because that's what I wanted to do, because that's where my passions are.
Absolutely.
We found out last year when we met up with Operation Cigars for Warriors out at TPE when we had been nominated that they would be interested in doing a manufacturer's agreement with us. Last month we formalized it. We got it finalized,
Yes.
and the only reason it took so long, as we all know in this environment right now, was Storm, as well as several of his own staff members, came down with COVID, and everybody needs to get over that as well as they can first before doing anything else. But sure enough, with the help of Storm and RJ Witcher and Abigail Wilcox, they were able to help me walk through the path of getting all that done, and we were able to accomplish a personal goal that I had set out for this year for the business. Next year we've got another goal, and we're already making steps on those inroads. So we're going to continue pushing along on it, including expanding the website and releasing some new products coming up.
Very good. Well, where can our viewers find you?
If you would like to, you can go to www.nubber.com. If you would like, you can drop me an email. David will have my contact information. You can just drop me an email if you're interested in any of our products. We do have wholesale pricing, and I'll be glad to share what that model looks like as well as how we make that operate. Some of our wholesale pricing models actually are more advantageous to our customers than our standard retail pricing. You just have to know how to manage your way through it, and I'm not going to keep that a secret. If somebody can get the most out of their money and the product gets out there, I'm glad to have it happen. So,
And you're also on Instagram and
correct.
Facebook.
We have a Facebook group. We have a Facebook page. We are on Instagram. I'm leaning to my friend Graybeard here. I'm Graybeard the Junior. He's the wiser. I won't say the older because I like his services. David has been kind enough to help provide some feedback, and he's going to help me grow my business a little bit more in the social media realms. And you'll hopefully be seeing some more advantageous content for us in that direction as well.
So we'll be definitely posting the information in the description below. Red, Spiceman, do you have any final comments?
I just want to say, as a female who smokes cigars, I really enjoy having a classy lady he bought this. And I'm super excited about the brand because that was a complete surprise, and I'm honored and privileged. So thank you very much.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Had a question.
Yes, sir.
So, as I'm seeing, because three of us here are woodworkers and craftsmen, we love what we do. Do you do any other kinds of woods when it comes to the Nubber? Or is it just a standardized for the look?
Did you share something with him?
So,
No, this is just my question.
Okay. Well, somebody head over the bag sooner or later. Number 2.0 is actually going to be a step up on the class scale, as Red put it a minute ago. One of our suppliers came across a product that is once again another one of God's humorous things. The customer does woodworking projects out of curly maple, and he bought a number of pallets of white curly maple, sight unseen, off of a dock in Florida. What he wasn't told was that curly maple had been sitting on that dock for 3 years, baking in the sun. The look of this wood, when I turn it right now, is a cross between a powdered cocoa and a pecan color. You hit that with anything in the form of some form of a finished product. It's a one-shot miracle that makes it look like it's a complete solid burl piece.
I mean, curly maple is such a beautiful piece of wood as it is.
Agreed.
I mean,
But when it sits in that, apparently what happens when it sits underneath God's sun for that long a period of time with that wind, it bakes all of those sugars and turns them into a caramel color.
well, and the moisture of it, so just the moisture, the weather of it, that's going to spread the sugar out
Yes.
into other various patterns.
You get a lot more of the swirl pattern.
Yeah.
No,
Trying
I
to
asked
find my-
because
I
one
wanted
of the
to show
things that I've got is I've got some cedar that was from a tree that was in front of my grandparents' house that we cut down. I was like, I wondered if I brought you the wood, that was something that you can turn out, or if that's a pre-made set.
Thank you. So here's what it actually looked like. Thank you. It just dawned on me I had to have a piece of it here. I just didn't realize I brought it with me until I thought about it.
Oh, wow, look at that richness of the color. That is beautiful. And you can see the pattern.
Yeah, you see how it looks like? It almost looks like from beginning to end, it's one solid burl.
Yes.
But it's not.
Yeah.
There's no burl in it anywhere.
That is beautiful.
And what's nice about it is it's got a nice solid weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Bill, thank you for
Oh, it's my pleasure.
for joining us on this.
It's my pleasure. I appreciate you letting me come on. It's been fun.
Yeah, this has been fun. So thank you, everybody. Please make sure to check out the Nubber. It's www.thenubber.com. You can also find the.nubber on Instagram and the.nubber on Facebook. There's a page and a group, and let's support him and just help his business grow with our love on this. And I'm going to do something that I never really understood why until now that we actually have our own YouTube channel. Please make sure to hit subscribe and click that notification bell. Like this video and check us out, Leaf and Grain Society. We are on Facebook and on Instagram and leafandgrainsociety.com as well. So until next time, thank you.
Have a happy Thanksgiving, folks.
Explore your bearings.